degan so'zni keltirdimda. Ya'ni agar bu rivojlanish darajasiga ketadigan bo'lsa, odamlar shunchaki xayol qilgan narsasi ko'z o'ngida paydo bo'ladi. Fantaziya hozir biz uchun, lekin atom darajasidagi yaratuvchanlik, qobiliyat.
All right, let's go. Xo'sh, bizlarga hozir kerak bo'ladi. This is
Fantaziya hozir biz uchun.
Overview of Git workflow. Chata internetim ishlamay qoldi. Live'da turibman-da, lekin nimaga ekranim o'zgarmayapti? Qotib qolibdi. Chiroyli.
Welcome to the overview of Git workflows. After watching this video, you will be able to describe the steps in a Git workflow and explain the workflow in a real-life scenario. Imagine yourself joining a team developing features for an e-commerce platform. Your task is to add a product recommendation feature. The team uses Git and GitHub for version control and collaboration. How will you collaborate effectively with the team using Git and GitHub? A clear understanding of Git workflows ensures you can use Git effectively for version control and collaboration. The knowledge will help you avoid issues such as code conflicts and unintentionally overwriting a team member's work. The first step is cloning a repository that your team has hosted on GitHub. Cloning creates a copy of the project's code and its complete version history from the remote repository on your local computer. The connection established during cloning enables you to push code changes to the remote repository. You can also pull any changes from the remote repository to your local repository and update it. You can implement the product recommendation feature by updating the project files in your local repository. As a developer, you might try multiple ways to code the feature. You may not want the changes to affect the main branch until the code is ready. A good practice is to create a branch from the main branch and then work on the newly created branch. A branch in Git is an isolated development space based on the main branch where you can make changes. In this case, add a feature without interfering with the main codebase. After developing the feature, the next step is to select the changed files and move them to a staging area. The staging area is a temporary storage space where you collect the selected files before asking Git to save them in the local repository. You can now commit the files to the newly created branch. Committing files allows you to record the changes and ensure your new feature becomes a part of the branch. When you commit files, including a commit message provides context for you and your team members to understand the change. For example, include a commit message like implemented product recommendation feature. The next step is pushing the changes in the branch to the remote repository. Most often, the code is reviewed by a maintainer, who is responsible for managing the repository before it is merged into the main branch in the remote repository. To merge the branch, you create a pull request. It is a request to the maintainer to review and approve the changes in the branch. After the maintainer merges the pull request, the changes in the branch will be reflected in the main branch. Similarly, if you have maintainer access, you will receive pull requests from your team members, and you will review and approve their requests. You learned about the typical workflow in a software development project. There may be situations where you start a project from scratch and intend to collaborate with others. You can initialize a local project directory as a Git repository so that Git starts tracking changes in your project directory. The next step is to select all project files that you want Git to track, move them to a staging area, and then do an initial commit. After this, you will create a blank repository and link your local Git repository to the remote repository. Then, you will push all project files from your local repository to the remote repository. Other developers can clone the remote repository and follow the regular workflow for updating project files. Let's understand the workflow better with a use case. A company assigns a team of developers, testers, and product manager to a new web application development project. And the lead developer initializes a Git repository in her working directory. She creates project files, moves them to the staging area, and does the initial commit. She then pushes the commit to a blank remote repository she created. All developers clone the remote repository and start working on it by creating branches. One of the developers, John, is responsible for implementing a user authentication feature. He creates a new branch named user auth from the main branch. John completes the feature development and commits to the user auth branch. After thorough testing, he pushes the branch to the remote repository and creates a pull request. Anne reviews the pull request and approves it to merge the changes into the main branch, so other developers can access the changes made by John. Similarly, other developers push commits to the remote repository for the features they worked on. At this stage, feature development is complete and the project is ready to be released. Anne creates a release branch named Release 1.0 from the main branch in the remote repository. The team pulls the changes from the remote repository so that their local repository is up to date. They perform final testing, bug fixes, and documentation updates in the Release 1.0 branch. After testing, they commit the changes, push the commits to the remote repository, and create a pull request. Anne reviews and merges the changes into the main branch and tags the release as Release 1.0. Let's now recap what you learned. In this video, you learned about the steps in a Git workflow. When you join an existing project, first clone the remote repository. Then create a branch from the main repository and work on the branch. Add updated files to the staging area and commit to the branch. Push commits to the
demak yig'laydigan darajada sekin ishlayapti-ku.
Welcome to Overview of Git Commands. In this video, you will examine some basic Git commands and the functions and applications of basic Git commands. Git commands are used for various purposes, such as tracking and saving changes and sharing your changes with others. Typically, many of these activities are performed through the web interface. Command line interface, or CLI, is another option to perform these activities. Let's consider a scenario to understand some general command line commands, such as mkdir, cd that can help in smooth functioning of the project. We will also discuss some basic Git commands, such as git init, git add, git commit, git log, git branch, git checkout, git merge, and git status. Consider you are a part of a web developer who wants the addition of a new HTML file to enhance the features of his web application. In this scenario, you wish to experiment with your codes without disturbing the main code. Let's explore the steps. Let's start by creating a new directory named My Repository by using the mkdir command. The mkdir command stands for Make Directory. Once you have created the directory, navigate to the directory using cd My Repository command. This command is used to navigate into a specific directory. Now, let us now create a new repository in this directory using the git init command. It sets up the necessary files and data structure for Git to start managing your project's version control. You can create a new HTML file that has the necessary content. Let's say you create index.html file. Now, add this newly created file to the staging area using git add command. This command moves changes from the working directory to the staging area. Now, you decide to commit the addition of the new HTML file with a message. For this, you use the git commit -m command that takes your stage snapshot of changes and saves them to the project with a descriptive message. This message explains the purpose of the git commit. So, in this case, created a new HTML file can be your commit message. If you wish to review the commit history to confirm the commit is recorded, run the git log command. It enables you to browse previous changes made to a project. Here, your commit history will reflect created a new HTML file. Now what if you want to experiment with your code, but you do not want to disrupt the current flow? Let's learn to create a branch using get branch command. To work in the isolation, you can use get branch command that lists, creates, renames, and even deletes branches within a Git repository. So, say you want to create a branch called code list. For this, you may use the get branch command. To switch to the newly created branch to start the development, use the get checkout command. The get checkout command lets you switch between the existing branches. You can now make the changes to the index.html file in the code_list branch. Once done, run the git add changes to add the newly made changes in your file to the staging area. As stated earlier, let's now commit the new changes made in the code_list branch with a descript message such as updated index.html file in branch. Let's now browse the commit log in the code_list branch using the get log command. Your output will now display updated index.html file in branch. To see the status of all the changes you made in your Git working directory, let's run the git status command. This command git provides information about the state of your files in relation to the repository. Finally, git merge lets you put everything back together again and merge the feature branch with the main branch. In this example, we will use get checkout command to navigate to the main branch first. Then, use the git merge followed by the branch name, which in this case is the code_list. Let's now recap what you learned. In this video, you learned about the CLI commands that you can use to perform various activities. The commands are mkdir to create a new directory, cd to navigate to a specific directory, get init to initiate. Welcome to the video demo, working with branches using Git commands. In this video, you will examine the functions of various Git commands and how to manage Git branches using commands. Branches allow you to work on features, experiments, or fixes independently in a structured and organized manner. The Git branching workflow is crucial in version control and collaboration when working on software development projects. The workflow allows the teams to work on different features, bug fixes, or experiment in isolation without disrupting one another's code. Let us now focus on how to efficiently use Git commands to facilitate the branching workflow process. To do so, first, let us clone the repository so that you can have a copy of that repository on your local machine. Navigate to the GitHub repository, then click Code and copy the URL under the HTTPS section in the terminal window and change to the target directory when you want to create a copy of the repository. Run the git clone command with the repository URL. Once you have the copy, you can create branches, make changes, and sync those changes. Change to the directory that was cloned. Now, let us focus on the git branch command. Run the git branch command, followed by the desired branch name, to create a new branch so that you can work on it without impacting the main code. Let's say that to create a branch named patch1 adding headers, you will execute git branch patch1 adding headers. The new branch created will be a copy of the branch you are currently on. Note that you will not be taken to the newly created branch automatically. To switch to branch patch1 adding headers, use the git checkout patch1 adding headers command. Now that you are on branch patch1 adding headers, you can make your changes. While on the patch1 adding headers branch, let's say you add a header, such as welcome to KIV, to your index.html file. Next, run the git status command to check the status of your working directory. This will highlight the modifications made to your index.html file. To stage the changes in your patch1 adding headers branch, execute the git add index.html command. This command will specify that the changes are now ready to be committed. You can finally run the git commit -m command with the message added header to save your changes. The -m in the git commit command adds a message to your changes. Now, the changes in the index.html file are part of your patch1 adding headers branch's history. Let us now focus on merging the patch1 adding headers branch with the main branch. To do so, firstly, switch back to the main branch by running the git checkout main command. By doing so, you are no longer on the patch1 adding headers branch. Now, run the git merge patch1 adding headers command. This command will integrate your changes from the patch1 adding headers branch into the main branch. The header change from patch1 adding headers is now incorporated into the index.html file located in the main branch. To make these changes accessible in your remote repository, use the git push-u origin main command. This command will push the main branch, including the changes merged from the patch1 adding headers branch to your remote repository. Finally, run the git status command to ensure the changes have been made and the branch is up to date. That's it! You have come to the end of this video. In this video, you learned how to effectively work with branches using git commands. You started by listing branches with the get branch command, then created the patch1 adding headers branch using the get branch patch1 adding headers command. Then, you switched to the new branch using get checkout patch1 adding headers command, made and staged changes using get status, get add index.html, get commit.
Okay, let's do this.
Welcome to cloning and forking. GitHub projects. After watching this video, you will be able to clone and sync repositories, fork a project to make a base for a new project, use get commands to communicate with other developers. GitHub has over 100 million existing repositories, including some very useful projects. Whether Whether you are joining a team or basing your own project on prior work, some of the most powerful tools are forking and cloning a repository. Cloning generally refers to creating a copy of a repository on your local machine. Cloned copies can be kept in sync between the two locations. Forking allows you to modify or extend a project without affecting the original project. Frequently, this is used to take an existing project and make it the starting point for your new project. Clone a GitHub repository. Navigate to the repository that you want to clone. Under the repository name, click Code. In the Clone with HTTPS section, click the clipboard button to copy the URL. To download the source code, you can click Download Zip, but without the version control information. On your local machine, open a terminal window and change to the directory where you want the clone to be copied. Type git clone, followed by pasting the URL that you copied above, and then press Enter to execute the cloning. When you have made your changes and are ready to sync your code back to GitHub, first, you must run the git add files command. This moves the changed files into a staging area on the GitHub repository. The staging area is an area where commits can be formatted and reviewed before completing the commit. Next, when you are ready, run git commit-m message, and this will commit changes in the staging area. When you are ready to move your changes fully into the GitHub repository, use the get push command. This will push all the committed changes into the repository. Remote repositories are repositories that are stored elsewhere, on the internet, on your network, even on your local computer. You can have several remote repositories, each of which generally is either read-only or read-write for you. Collaborating with others involves managing these remote repositories and involves push, pull, and fetch operations to and from them when you need to share work. Use getPush to transfer your changes to the remote repo. Use getFetch to transfer any changes from the remote repo to your local repo. It does not merge those changes to the branch you are working on. You can perform a merge manually if you want. Use getPull to transfer any changes from the remote repo to your local repo and merge them to a branch. Developers use the terms upstream and origin when talking about remote repos. Origin generally refers to your fork, and upstream refers to the original work. These are the norms. You can, of course, name them anything you like. Forking is used to take a copy of a GitHub repository and use it as the base for a new project. You can also use forking to submit back changes into the original repository. This is also used to independently make changes to a project. In that instance, when you are satisfied with your changes, submit a pull request to the original project owner. They can decide whether or not to accept your changes. It is often a legal requirement to keep a copy of the license file. Even if no legal requirement exists, it's good practice. Navigate to the repository that you want to fork. In the top right corner, click the Fork button. To keep a fork in sync with the original work from a local clone, first create a local clone of the project. To configure Git to sync your fork, open a terminal and change to the directory containing the clone. Type git remote-v. This gives you the remote repository. Type get remote add upstream with the pasted-in directory that you used in creating your clone. Adding upstream adds the original repository as a new remote repository labeled upstream. If you type git remote-v, you'll see the change reflected. Other commands of interest include get fetch upstream to grab upstream branches and get merge upstream master, which merges changes into the master branch. You will also see get pull upstream, used to fetch and merge the remote branch in the same step. Get pull upstream reduces the number of steps to sync with a remote branch, but the automatic merges are not always desired. In this video, you learned GitHub has over 100 million existing repositories that you can use. You can clone a repository to copy it to your local machine and sync changes back to the original repository. You can fork
Welcome to Cloning versus Forking. Until now, you have delved into the concepts of cloning and forking, but have you ever paused to think about their differences? In this video, you will learn the difference between cloning and forking repositories and when to use them. You will also describe the cloning and forking workflow. GitHub allows multiple developers to collaborate on their codebase in parallel. A project in github.com resides either as a public or private repository. Each developer working on that project may have their own copy of the repository on their computer, which they refer to as their local repo, and one that is on github.com, which they refer to as the remote repo. Let's say you have an existing project named Grand Messaging, and you are looking to create a new or derivative project, Grand Messaging Plus, which offers additional features and improvements over the original. There is no need for you to start creating your codebase again. You can simply fork the existing Grand Messaging project, create Grand Messaging Plus, and develop on top of the existing codebase, offering new and improved features. To fork a public project, you can go to its GitHub project page and select Fork at the top of the page. This fork option is available only while using the web interface. There is no native git command to create a fork. The repo from which you create the fork is referred to as the original upstream repository. Once you fork the original upstream, the forked copy of the repo becomes the origin, and developers with access to the origin can create clones of it on their local machines. After cloning, you can create branches and easily make changes to the codebase, like adding features, enhancements, or fixing bugs. Finally, you can add, commit, and push your changes to the branch and request to merge the branch with the main branch in the origin. However, it is important to note that the synchronization of changes using push and merge can only be done with repos that the developers have write access to. But what if you want to contribute your changes back to the original upstream that you do not have write access to from where it was forked? In that case, you can submit a pull request for your proposed changes by selecting New Pull Request from the Pull Requests tab. The maintainers of the upstream project can review the changes in the pull request, provide feedback, and merge accordingly unless there are any conflicts to be resolved. Now let's look at how you can create branches and synchronize changes. To create a branch, you can use the git branch command, and then make the branch active using the git checkout command. Once changes are made, save and stage them using git add and git commit. After the intended changes are completed, you should set up an upstream branch for the newly created branch and push the changes to the new branch. Then, you raise a request to the maintainer to merge the changes in the new branch to the main branch after reviewing it. Let us revisit the forking workflow. First, you create a fork of an upstream project, which then becomes the origin. The developer can create clones on the local machines, make changes, and then use git push to push the updated main branch back to the origin by creating pull requests. The upstream project maintainers review the changes and then merge if there are no conflicts. One thing to note about the git merge command is that it lets you take independent lines of development in git branches and integrate them into a single branch. Now, let's say a new developer joins your project to upgrade the Grand Messaging to Grand Messaging Plus. How are you going to share the remote repo with the new developer to collaborate on the project? This is where cloning comes to your rescue. You can clone any public repo in GitHub or a private repo that you have access to by going to that repo and selecting the code button. You can then get the entire codebase of the remote repo in various ways. GitHub also gives you the ability to copy the HTTPS URL and then execute the git clone URL command from your local machine. After cloning, you can follow the same process of updating your codebase and merging with the main branch. Let us quickly look at the entire clone workflow. Cloning comes into the picture once you have forked your repo and it has now become the origin. You then use the origin to create an identical copy of the remote repo using the git clone command that the developer can use on their computer. Then, the new developer creates a new branch, makes changes, and saves them using add and commit operations. After that, they push the new branch to the origin to get their changes reviewed. A reviewer or maintainer uses the git fetch or git pull command to get the latest copy of the repo and the git diff command to help identify and compare the changes in the branch. Once reviewed, they can use git checkout and merge the branch to the main. Lastly, anyone with maintainer access can create a pull request to the original upstream to initiate the changes in the original repo. Let's recap. In this video, you learn that if you want to create a derivative project from another project as the starting point, you can choose to fork a project. The repo that you fork from is referred to as the upstream repo. To contribute your changes back to the upstream project, for which you do not have write access, you can submit a pull request, commonly referred to as PR. The maintainers of the upstream project can review the changes in the pull request, provide feedback, and merge accordingly unless there are any conflicts to be resolved. Welcome to Managing GitHub Projects. In this video, you will identify the common roles of version control or Git in the project and list Git commands to communicate with other developers. You already know that GitHub is a popular platform for version control and project management. You require managing your GitHub projects for effective collaboration and project organization. Multiple roles are involved in managing a project: a developer, an integrator, and a repository administrator. A developer working as a participant in a group project needs to learn how to communicate with others and use these commands in addition to the ones needed by a standalone developer. When working with Git, you can use Git commands or desktop tools such as GitHub Desktop. Git clone is used to create a copy from upstream, a remote shared repository that the developer wants to work on. Git pull and push is used to push commits for your upstream to pull. An integrator in a group project receives changes made by others, reviews and integrates them, responds to pull requests, and publishes the result for others to use. Integrators use the following commands in addition to the ones needed by participants. Git pull helps you merge with your trusted lieutenants. Git revert will undo any botched commits. And git push will help to publish the project from the local repo to the remote repo. The repository administrator structures how the repository is organized and how users interact with the repository. They also manage communities, asset types, relationships, categories, and attributes. A repository administrator sets up and maintains access to the repository for developers. They also configure the servers needed for accessing the web services and documentation, define email and index settings, and manage the look and feel of the application. Repository admins can use GitHub Actions to automate software workflows, including continuous integration and continuous delivery, or CI/CD. Let's recap. In this video, you learn that multiple roles are involved in managing a project: developer, integrator, and repository administrator. Each role uses different Git commands to communicate with collaborators. A developer working in a group project uses commands like git clone, git pull, git fetch, git push, and git request pull, in addition to the ones needed by a standalone developer. An integrator in a group project reviews and integrates changes made by others. Integrators use commands like git pull, git revert, and git push, in addition to the ones needed by participants. The repository administrators structure how the
What is meant by an initial command? Official recording the current state of your project files. You need to run three commands to push local changes to GitHub. Which command will you use when your changes are ready to be moved? Git push. What are the three commonly used commands for working with reminders? Push, pull, fetch. When managing forks, which command you use to fetch? To use fetch and merge the remote repository in the final step. Yeah. Use fetch and merge. Which of the following commands is used to make a branch active? Which command can developer use to keep up to date with Git pull? Upstream and Git fetch upstream. In Git workflow, which steps involves creating a separate workspace for making changes and developing features without interfacing the main code base? Performing initial creating branch from the main repository and working on the branch, selecting and moving, initializing. Which of the following commands helps you view the commit history? Hiç lazım. İşte cevap var yani. When managing forks, and then pull and fetch upstream again. Qanaqa lab bor ekan? Assignment bor endi assignment qilishimiz kerak. If you create some final project, submit your work and review your peers. Hop, biz nima qilishimiz kerak ekan? The grading criteria deyapti. Bizni mana bu ekan bizni. Important notice about the lab environment. Please be aware that testing for the lab are not persistent. Every time you conduct this lab, a new environment is created for you. Any data you may save within this. Plan to complete a lab single session to avoid losing data deyapti. Biz bitta nima qilishimiz kerak deyapti, bu to'g'ri. After completing this lab, you will be demonstrated to fork the repository deyapti. Mana shu repository fork qilish kerak deyapti. Hop, fork qilamiz. Great fork. Fork qilgandan keyin fix the typo and merge with the main dep. Clone the repository in the lab environment. Create the plus clone qilishimiz kerak ekan o'shani. faqat buni qilsam bo'lar ekan. Buni boshqa akkauntimda fork qilaman-da, chunki o'sha akkauntimga SSH ga ulangan. SSH bilan ishlayveraman. Hop. Qanaqadir typo bor ekan, o'shani fix qilish kerak ekan. Change the photo readme ni mana bunga o'zgartirishimiz kerak. Okey, buni kodini olib Vay, qayerga klon qo'ydim men buni? Noto'g'ri joyga klon qo'ydim. Bu joyda emas, men CD developer ichida ishlayman o'zi. Buni ichida CD course project bor. Mana shu course project ichiga klon qilaman. Keyin openni o'chirib qo'yganman, yo'qmi lekin. Openni anaqaga qo'yib qo'ygan ekanman-da. Mayli, qo'lda ochamiz. Hop. Open qilamiz. Sanjarbekning ichida, developerning ichida 2 marta bosdim, sorry. Developerning ichida course project bor, buni ichida mana shu proyektni ochish kerak. Qachon avtomatik anaqa so'raydi. Environment variable, virtual environment rasm so'raydi, sразу yaratamiz. Agar qanaqadir faqat HTML kod bo'lsa shart emas lekin. Python kod ekan lekin. Mayli. Change the readme file from birinchi create branch bug fixed typo degan branch yaratyapti. Terminal kiramiz. Git branch bug fix. Bug fix typo and the git checkout. Hop. O'zgartirishimiz kerak ekan. Hop. Buni ichida, readme ichida mana buni o'zgartirishimiz kerak. Mana buni o'zgartiryapti nimaga? Mana o'zgartirdi. 2022 ni 2023 qilyapti просто. Meaningful message bilan comment qildi. Oldin git add readme git starts idea file ketmaydi. Ketmasligi uchun mana ichiga kirib turib idea file yoqib qo'yish kerak. Hop. Apple git commit -m message yazishimiz kerak endi. Readme file established date change it. Bittaga nima qilishimiz kerak ekan? Push your fix to your mana shu branchga push qil deyapti ekan. Git push bug fix typo. Make sure the correct access deyapti. Bug fix typo degan narsaga push qilyapti. Push your fix to your branch. You will need to generate a personal access token GitHub. First step your instruction. Endi men SSH'ga bilan ulaganim uchun menga bu kerak emasda bu. Settingga kirasan, developer settingga kirasan. Tokensga kirib qo'ydik. Access token qilasan deyapti. Token. Bug fix typo degan branch bor. Git push bug fix typo. Please make sure you have the correct access right and the browser exists. SSH bilan emas, menimcha HTTPS bilan qilishim kerakmi lekin nima farqi bor unda? Git check out masterga o'tamiz. Git merge bug fix typo. Screenshot qilamiz ekan buni. Bug fix report degan branch yaratyapti endi. Yo'qga qaytar deyapti. Push the changes to the bug fix report branch, but ensure you have personal access token. Go to GitHub and create the pull request. Push qilsam ishlamayapti-da. Bug fix report. Origin olib ketgan ekan. Hop. Qani. boshqa hozirda ochib oldi. Mana shuni olishim kerak ekan. O'ziga saqlab qo'yish kerak ekan. Check the status of your branch deyapti. Navigate the branch section and WUI deyapti on your branchlarimni tekshir deyapti. Master warehouse. Make note of the URI of this. When was this? Bo'lmadi lekin bu hozir. Buni boshqatdan qilamiz. Boshqatdan qilish uchun hop qaytaman degan. Hop yana qaytaman degan. Boshdan yozaman. Tepaga chiqib. Bu yasagan forkimni o'chirib olib bo'larmikan? O'chirib olib bo'lmasa ekan. Hop. Menda hozir ikkita GitHub akkaunt bo'lganligi uchun mana bunda ketib qolyapti. Men nariga akkauntimda qilmoqchiman xullas shuni. Shuning uchun endi buni olaman. Qisqasi bu akkauntimda umuman GitHub ishlatmayman, chiqib ketaman.
I struggle with
Hop. Bundan chiqib ketamiz. Hop. Nariga akkauntimda qo'yaman. Yangi fork yarataman. Yangi fork yaratdim. Already for it deyapti. Repository mikro fork qilganimni o'chirib yuborsam bo'ladimi? Settingga kiramanda. Delete qilaman. Hop. Endi boshqatdan fork qilaman. Fork qildim. SSH'ni oldim. Mana shu yerda ls qilaman, turibdi. Hop, paycharimni mana shu joydan chiqib ketaman-da. Bu joyga kelib rm-rf jb bir narsa o'chirib yuboraman-da. Git clone qilib boshqatdan clone qilaman. Endi paycharimga kelaman. Open. Xuddi shuni boshqatdan ochaman. Mana. Keyin clone the fork deyapti. Create a branch bugfix type degan branch yarat deyapti. Hop. Git branch bugfix typo. Git check out bug fix typo o'taman. Bitta checkout qilish haqida aytilmabdi-da. Mayli. Mana bizga kelib, hop. Mana buni 23 ga o'zgartirishimiz kerak. Keyin add that git add readme git commit minus m readme file established date session year change it in readme git push origin bug fix typo. Bug fix typoga push qilyapti. Push qildim. Ikkita branch paydo bo'ldi. Yaxshi. Endi aytyapti switch to main branch bug fix typo deyapti. Git check out switch to main branch, merge the bug fix typo master git merge bug fix typo. Bug fix reward tarafta. Branch bug fix reward. Git checkout bug fix reward. Mana buni 22 ga qaytar dedi. Push qilyapti. Git add readme git commit minus m established date change it git push origin bug fix reward. Push qildim. Refresh qilaman. branchingni olib qo'y deyapti. O'ziga saqla deyapti. Go to create a pull request at hub. Pull request go to new pull request. Bug fix reward done. Bug fix reward done. Yeah. Romania. Pull request URL. Fork the repository URL. Screenshot of the fix to domain name it merge request touch. Screenshot merge bo'lganini. Recent ichida rename png let's qanaqa bitirishim o'sha. The URL of the branch repository bor hammasi. Hop, endi bu joyga kelaman. My submission kirib give a project title. Working with Git and GitHub different names. Submit the URL repository. Repository URL mana bu mana shu. Hop. Title nima deb qo'yaman? Title mana shu. Caption yo'q. README file is present in the repository. README file is present in the repository. README file ichida nima bo'lgan o'shani qo'shim kerakmi? Code of conduct file. Submit the forked
Welcome to GitHub Copilot. After watching this video, you will be able to describe the features of GitHub Copilot and the typical workflow that you might follow when using GitHub Copilot. Imagine you have a friend who teams up with you on a project, helping you write code faster and better by providing hints and suggestions. That would be awesome, right? GitHub Copilot is designed to do exactly this, using the power of artificial intelligence, or AI. GitHub Copilot is an AI-powered tool that assists developers in writing code. It is designed to work as a plugin for various code editors, including Visual Studio Code, and provide code based on including function languages, and it keeps learning the programming. You can use the tab, repetitive, or standard code kind in contextual projects or new projects. You must review the suggestions.
Copilot shunday ishlatamiz o'zi. Congratulations deyapti. Hop, using on your desktop ishlatish deyapti. Bu o'zi SSH'lar bilan ulash narsalar ekan, menda hammasi o'zi qilingan narsalar. Shuning uchun stand. Hop, bo'ldi. Endi namunga qaytib kelsak, hamma modulim dan bo'ldi. Endi orqaga qaytsam bo'ladi. %98 deyapti. 2% nimaga ekan endi? Void. Qiziqlar, ikkala kursni o'qiganim yo'q. Shuning uchun mana hop. Rate share unenroll. Mana ham shunaqa qilsa bo'lasmi? Menimcha bir 2% o'sha mana bunaqaga. Uchinchi modulda mana final submit. Buni kimdir tekshirib berish kerak. Kimdir tekshirgandan keyin bu ham tik bo'ladi. Keyin bu ham tik bo'lgandan keyin bizga endi keyingi anaqa kerak endi. Kursimiz. Keyingi kursimiz hop, uni qayerdan topamiz deymi? IBM back deb yozamiz. Search results back. Kurslarga qaytib boshqa tartibda topamiz. Aytgancha ichiga kirsak buni. Hop. Mana bu joyda mana ichida bor mana. Bundan keyin Linux shell scripting ekan. Hozir ikkitasi tugadi bo'lsa, undan keyin Python boshlanadi. Hozir hands-on introduction to Linux commands and shell scripting ekan. Yaxshi, buni ham start qilib qo'yamiz. Mana modullar bor. Introduction to Linux. Introduction to Linux commands, introduction to shell scripting, final project bor ekan. Mana bu o'rgatadi ekan, uni ko'rishimiz kerak. Hop, enroll qilgan bo'lsak, go to kurs qilamiz. 4 ta modul. Hop, sразу bizga message kelibdi, ikkita. Hop, yaxshi. Birinchi modul. Linux distribution, total browse the directory. Ikkinchi modulda nima ekan? Shell commands. Menimcha bu ham basic narsa o'rgatadi, ham ikkita nafarat o'rgatsa kerak. 2 kunda. Undan keyin Python, undan keyin developing an application with Python at last. Mana buni unenroll for some. It looks like we missed unenroll for another. Buni o'qimay turgan bo'laman. Mana buni shunaqa qilishim kerak-da. bo'ldi. Bir kun kecha hayalda yo'q, esdan chiqib qolibdi. Dars qilamiz. Ko'raversin, nima bor ekan. ishlar bor ekan. Data analysis project. Software engineering IT qiladigan bo'lsak, IT support bor ekan. Project manager for backend developer mana. Metanikini ham IBM nikini ham tutgan bo'lsa bo'lishi mumkin. Mana. Bu prosta anaqa o'zim nimadir. Faqat shunaqa ishlar bor deb turadi xolosmi? Ichiga kirib bir narsa qilsak bo'lmaydi. Jobs available deyapti, lekin qayerdan topamiz available joblarni? Explore data science analysis. Bunga hali kelamiz. Online degrees. Program level bachelor degree. Apply. Computer science. Apply. University of London mana bor ekan, computer science bor ekan. Mana shunga qiziqib turgandim. To'rtta universitet bor ekan. Berlin Institute of Technology and Science. Mana shuni requirementlari qanaqa ekan, bir ko'rish kerak-da. Tuition varies by geographic location deyapti. 14,000 dollardan $20,000gacha bo'lishi mumkin deyapti. Student experience, academic admission deyapti. Bularda onlaynda anaqa olib bo'ladimi ekan? Tuition fee financing. This program is eligible for student finance for UK residents. Scholarship. Please check the eligible requirements before applying it. Admission. 17 yoshdan deyapti, matematikasi nimadir bo'lishi kerak deyapti, or class level account. To satisfy general requirements deyapti. Test bor ekan. Mathematics aptitude test. Qaysilar bo'lishi kerak bunda? Intermediate bo'lishi kerak ekan. Academies. Master fundamental computing and build your expertise with government portfolios. Tuition fee and career student experience. Birinchi accept qilinib, keyin scholarship qidirsak bo'ladi. Qiziq. Hop, endi mana bu şey. Universitet bu. Bilan degan universitet ekan. Tuition fees qancha ekan buni? 4 milliondan 6 milliongacha cost ekan. Admissions, tuition, financing bor ekan. Qaysi davlatlarga alohida ekan? Qozog'iston, O'zbekiston bormi? O'zbekiston yo'q. Bizga qimmatroq ekan. Nimalarni cover qiladi deyapti. Scholarship. Technology. Computer science, data science qancha? To'rtta universitet bor ekanda. Ha, mayli. Men uni hamda tekshirishmadimikan hali? Ha, уже completed bo'libdi. Demak, уже kimdir kirib tekshirib qo'yibdi. Yaxshi. Get your cursor across. Hozir men sertifikatim bermaydi shunda. Tushunmadim hozir. Your payment are processed securely. Nimaga narigisini oldim-ku? Nimasini sekiradigan bo'lsak. IT education turmaydi o'zi. qachon boshlangan, qachon tugagan? 24-yanvar bugun tugadi. Boshlangan sanasi yanvar 2025. Yanvar 2025da bir oyda. Credential ID'si bormi? Credential ID. Credential URL. Share. Add skills. GitHub. Browser. SSH. Credential ID'sini qayerdan ekan endi? Evet, mana bu bo'lsa kerak credential ID'si. Boramiz, chekiramizda. Edit qilamiz. Chunki mana bunday ayol chiqdi, bunda chiqmayapti. Edit. Ayol tanlab qo'yamiz. Show credentials bossa. O'tkazib yaxshi. Biz LinkedInimizni sekin kuchaytirib boryapmiz. Endi bu joyda, mana bu joyda add GitHub, add project bor ekan. Project name. Web Academies. Description. This is a web framework that can help to create web applications. It looks like Django and Fast API. I have created this project by watching the course of Jack Hunger. Python Rajada framework HTTP project projectlar qayerda ko'rinadigan? Education license projects. Okay. Buni link qilib qo'ysa bo'ladimikan? Skills. Tushunmadim. Xo'sh. Open to work emas. Share that you are hiring that. Showcase your services as a section. Obviously, linkini o'z ustidan tashlashim kerak. It's real soft time actually. We are hiring full-time on set that chef Shari auditor head of Shari department. Grand Park White Powers of Logic. Julie experience Russia young crystal. That's it, my friend. Ever is not precious left again. Oh, let's shut the camera. Najotlarni o'qib, najotlarni ishlayapti. Olti ishlaganiga ishlayapti. Yaxshi. Shunaqa gaplar sekin live'ni tugatsak ham bo'ladi. Hammaga rahmat.